Okay, Madam Chair, do you have an agenda in front of you? If not, it will be embedded in the PowerPoint, correct, Tim?
Yes.
Okay, great. Then let's work off of that one.
Okay.
All right, wonderful. So I'd like to call this meeting of the Green Committee to order. Can we please have the roll call?
Dr. Gilliam,
Present.
Councilman O'Connor, Representative Kincaid.
Thank you. I think the first item of business is informational items.
Thank you, Dr. Gilliam. There'll be 3 informational items on today's agenda, going through the Cycle 7 application update. Then we'll have a brief informational item regarding the review process of the GROW applications. This is intended to provide the board and the committee with sufficient knowledge as to the process which ALCOSAN and staff go through to review the GROW applications. And then we'll have the final informational item in regards to the Cycle 7 GROW application or agreements. From the last Green Committee meeting, we shared the letters of interest summary, and we had identified that there were 21 projects, and we had invited 17 projects to participate in Cycle 7. And for the first time, we have received all 17 invitations to Cycle 7. In the past, we've had occasional projects that don't submit for whatever reason. So it's very heartening to see everybody submitting. What you see on this table is the preliminary total project costs. Right now, these have not been vetted all the way through where we may find ineligible costs or other items. So this is a preliminary number. But based off of that number, we take a 15 to 85% match to provide you with a range. If every project was recommended an award, it would fall between these two numbers, 2.5 million to 14 million. And based upon the preliminary understanding of these projects, estimating that this cycle will probably be between $8.5 to $11 million in awards. That range is not set in stone. It could be lower, could be higher, but right now, based upon what I'm seeing in here, this is the reasonable range for this year's awards. We have a handful of very expensive projects that seem to appear very impactful, and those will be some big projects. Any questions so far in regards to the Cycle 7 update?
Well, first of all, thank you for this summary. I always love to emphasize the fact that projects that receive the highest match are those that are the most cost effective. I think that's a really important point to make sure that we always highlight when we are talking about projects, because on the face, when you hear the term expensive, it could belie the fact that it really is expensive only because of the cost effectiveness and the efficiency of the overall process. So really taken holistically, it's not expensive, it's the most impactful. So I wanted to just emphasize that. And thank you very much, Tim, for your work on this and your team.
You're welcome, Dr. Gilliam. This next slide is showing our schedule. So this is just a brief, I'll hit on this in the next agenda item also, but I just wanted to give you a quick overview, and I apologize if you can't read what's on the screen, but it goes through each of the tasks that I'm going to discuss in a minute. And the schedule that we have, we always shoot to get this done before September. We're hoping that we get this done. We should. There's 17 applications. Usually what happens is there's a handful of overly complex projects and several straightforward projects. And what I would like to do is talk a little bit about the project scoring and ranking, the process that we go through to provide the information in September. Before the team goes through the technical review, we do have an administrative step where the ALCOSAN's procurement department receives the applications. They confirm the receipt, and also they go a little bit above and beyond on this one, where they go through and they make sure that all the administrative items are checked out. If something is not in there, they'll let me know, and then we reach out to the municipality and try to get them, hey, you forgot to put this in here, some signature. Not a technical issue, but something that helps, make sure that the application is totally compliant with the instructions. We send the file to our servers, and then we notify all the reviewers that the applications are ready. And then we begin the verification and technical review. We could break that out into 4 steps. The hydrology and the hydraulic analysis using computer models, a financial analysis, a constructability analysis, which is pretty important, and then a triple bottom line and public education component too. And I'm going to go through these 4 steps, not in grand detail, but hopefully enough detail to answer any questions that you may have about the process. So the hydrology and hydraulics analysis, the first thing we do is the applicant provides us with GIS files, geographic information systems, that allows us to get a thorough understanding of the project and also what portions of their collection system are being impacted by the project. We ask the question, is the GIS data sufficient enough to inform those models? And if the answer is no, then we will send personnel out to field verify any discrepancies that may be found in the GIS data. And then we loop it back to the question, is it enough to inform the models? And assuming that the answer is yes, we then use that information to represent the project in our existing models. And as we mentioned in the past, we have changed in cycle 7 what models we're using. We are now basing our analysis on the assumption that we have an expanded plant and tunnels in place, the interim wet weather plan. And from that, we get 2 criteria. We get the volume of stormwater removed from the regional collection system, which is 20% of the score, and then the volume of overflows, which ends up being 30% of the score. Are there any questions in regards to this step?
No, it's very clear. Thank you very much, Tim.
You're welcome. In step 2, we do the financial analysis. First thing we'll do is we'll take a look at the municipal budget review. That is, we request municipalities provide us with their annual budget, their fiscal statements, and we ask for 2 years of those statements. But also in the application, we request that they provide us with a detailed cost estimate of the project, and we go through that cost estimate to find is everything that they are requesting represented in this cost estimate, making sure that everything is eligible, because we do not pay for ineligible costs in the GROW program. And ineligible costs is simply any cost that has nothing to do with stormwater reduction. And we have pretty set guidelines on that, on the stormwater ineligible costs. And then from there, we have two criteria. We have the municipal budgeting plan. So does the municipality have the budget for the project, given the grow match that we may be giving them? And also the audited financial statements, which is a small component, but it's a component that is a requirement that in the grow application. Are there any questions on the financial analysis?
No, thank you.
Keep going. Instructability analysis would start, if necessary, a field visit to be sure that when we're looking at a project, what kind of impacts are we going to have on the neighborhood? Will there be disruptions? What are the utility conflicts? We want to be sure that all of these are being addressed upfront in the project, so we're not surprised later on with anything that could cause delays. Then we review all the application information that we wouldn't necessarily get in the field visit. And then we come up with three criteria. We answer three criteria and we score them. So the schedule basically is looking at how far away is the completion of this job. If a job is going to be completed in 4 years, it would rank lower than a job that is finished in 1 year. Community disruption, that's a qualitative assessment. Is this project going to tear up the streets, being a disruption to the community, or is this a job that the community really won't have any impact on the neighborhood? And then public outreach, is the municipality or authority, do they have a plan to let the community and public know about this project? And if there are no questions, I will move on to the final step, which is a triple bottom line in public education. So we'll review the application information. We request that if they have the triple bottom line analysis, which means that they're seeing whether or not whether the project has an impact on the community, or if the project has environmental impacts or economic impacts. And we'll also take a look to see what kind of public education that they're planning for the long term. It's not so much public notification, which is before the project, the public education after the project is done. And then those criteria are scored and provided in our summary. And this is what the summary looks like. 20%, 30, all the way around. We have, I believe, 9 criteria that we look at. And what's interesting is these are the 3 criteria: stormwater removal, overflow reduction, municipal budget, which are a function it impacts the GROW award. So these 3, and it's roughly about 2/3 of the overall score has impact on the GROW award. Then in November, we will take all this information post award in September. We pull this all together in a reviewed summary document, and that document gets put up on the ALCOSAN website in the web map, so that we have the means for people to see and find information about all of these projects. Again, coming back to the review schedule, everything that we talked about is in this first portion of the submission verification technical review phase. And then, very quickly we could go through everything we learned and do the scoring. But the most important part of all of this is this little part right there. That is the next Green Committee meeting, where we anticipate that we will have our recommendations for the Green Committee for these 17 projects. Are there any questions regarding the scoring the process of the application review?
No, I don't have any questions about the application review. I really appreciate the presentation. And I love the fact that you really highlight our next meeting. It's very difficult to miss on the slide. So that's
I had to have a little bit of fun with this.
Oh, that's funny. First of all, this was great. And I don't have questions about this presentation because it was so clear, very laid out. And I'm glad that it is being recorded so that, others who are maybe not able to attend or view this live right now can go back, because this is definitely a historical document that, a reference document that is going to be very helpful for organizations and municipalities that are looking to apply to the grow cycles. I hate to put you on the spot, and if you don't have an answer for this right now, completely fine to hear about it in our next meeting. I guess one of the things I would love for you to talk to us a bit about is the supports for municipalities prior to submission.
Oh, I'd be more than happy to talk about that. Yeah, every cycle begins probably a week or two after the last cycle finishes. So in cycle 6, we awarded that at the end of September. We were planning for cycle 7 during that time, and then our municipal workshops begin. And the way that the municipal workshops are structured is that we reach out to each municipality. So we have 83 municipalities plus a few authorities, and we set time aside for each of them. Now, not everybody shows up to these meetings, but we do let them know that, hey, we're blocking off this time for you. And some municipalities do show up, and they show up with projects or ideas. And these projects, we start to discuss them, and that's basically planting the seed of the project for growth. Sometimes the projects are very well thought through. You look at them, you know that these are good projects. Those are the projects that will bypass. So you've heard me say that in the past, where you don't have to submit a letter of interest for this project. We're going to send you a letter saying, in May, we're going to send you the application specifically for this project, because we know that this project is so far advanced, we feel comfortable inviting you. And that saves the municipality a little bit of money in having to put together the letter of interest. There are also times where they may not have a fully developed project, but the project is good. It's a good idea. And so what we want to do is we want to work with the municipality, try to find some time to sit down with them on a periodic basis to see what the progress is. Maybe they'll show us something, but it might not be ready for the next cycle, but it should be ready for the cycle after that. We'll still find the time to meet with the municipalities and just go over these projects and, develop these ideas that they have. And we've been doing that since I think cycle 2, I think we started the municipal workshops, but they really started to take hold in cycles 4 and on, where they started to really produce a lot of successful projects. And it's a part of the job that is, a pleasure, being able to work with everybody to get these jobs moving.
I think one of the other pieces of information that if there are municipalities out there who, have projects that they would like to submit, hearing what Tim was just saying and then looking back through the criteria that you all use, that you just laid out on how the projects are assessed and scored, that gives you a pretty clear path of what needs to be provided in order to do this work. So, I just wanted to speak to anyone who's listening to this, who has some ideas and has some opportunities for the growth cycle, that, from what I've seen, the ALCOSAN staff, Tim's team, really does enjoy this work. They love being able to bring resources to these projects that ultimately result in less water entering into our system. So I encourage you to go ahead and reach out and ask the question, so that you can get some support to get this done. Because this program is a really good program.
Thank you. Okay, if there are no other questions, we can go on to this informational item. And I'm going to let you know that I had a lot of fun with this too. Max, do we have any agreement changes to be made this cycle?
Other than dates, no.
Excellent. And the whole reason why we have no action items in this committee meeting is because the GROW agreement from cycle 6 does not need to change for cycle 7. We're going to use the same agreement. Everything is working. And this is not an action item that we'll need to bring to the committee or to the board in September. So it makes me kind of happy that that it's working out.
It's working. Yeah, that's great. All right.
And
any other informational items?
No, there are not. We are going now to other business.
All right. Thank you. Other business. Is there any other business? And
No other business today.
all right, hearing none, we'll move on to the next topic. So our next meeting is going to be on Thursday, September 15th at 2 p.m. And I'm sure you all will send us out a link for that Zoom. So we would look forward to that. And if there is nothing else.
Dr. Gilliam, I would just like to remind you and anyone else who will be attending that meeting that typically is a long meeting, longer than usual, because this is where we'll present the projects to the community.
That should be a good one.
Yes.
You don't want to miss that one. So we'll be sure to tune in. If there aren't any other pieces of business to discuss, then I move that is there anyone to move the meeting will be adjourned, or will I just adjourn it?
Well, before you adjourn the meeting, by the time you get to that next meeting that is being so highly profiled and will be so long, you will have had an opportunity to attend the September 10th open house, which will energize you for that long meeting.
Yes.
Saturday, September 10th.
September 10th. Yes.
September 10th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Be there. You could be there and be square, or be there or be square. And yes, rain or shine, because we manage water one way or another. See you there.